there. This question actually comes up quite a bit in some of the sewing groups that I belong to. And a couple of years ago, I've had this machine for about 5 years or more. And one of the questions that comes up is how long does it take to toggle back and forth between cover stitch and serger? And I did a really quick video. It was about a minute long, and basically I showed how quickly I can toggle, back and forth with my machine. And there were a lot of replies that stated that I was doing it really fast, and I was trying to time myself. So I'm doing this video to kind of show you a more leisurely way of how I would change over my machine from cover stitch to serger, and then usually I'll end up going back to cover stitch again. So you'll see that at the top of the video, I have 7 spools of thread. Sometimes I'll have 8. It really depends on what I'm doing, what type of stitches that I'm doing. And um, typically, the reason why I have 8 is because if I'm working on a piece of clothing, I will almost always have to go from serger to cover stitch. And so it's just a lot easier for me. You can see that in this video, I had to move one of the cones, but if I had to do that each time I switched back and forth, it actually does take more time to do that. Whereas if the cones are already set up, all I have to do is quickly grab the thread and then move on. It does cost a little bit more, depending on where you buy your thread from, to add those additional cones, but it is a time saver, at least for me. So you can see that I switched from cover stitch, excuse me, from serger over to cover stitch, and here I'm demonstrating the cover stitch stitch on the back, and then I'll show you how quickly it takes me to move back over to serger. And there were a couple of things here that this is a good video because there were a couple things here that I got a little bit lazy towards the end as far as making sure that, see how when I'm cutting my threads, a lot of times I need to make sure that the very edge of my thread has a nice clean snip to it. If not, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to put it in the threader. So this is one of the air threading machines. It's a combo machine, cover stitch, and serger. And you can see that as I'm going through, I'm going to go ahead and change my needles back over. Now, this whole video is about 4 minutes, I believe, and I went from serger to cover stitch and then back to serger again. So you can see that in between there, it really doesn't take that much time. And again, I'm kind of leisurely doing this. I made sure that I just kind of slowed down doing this process, because you do get faster as you go. The more you work with this machine, the faster it becomes. It's almost like you don't even think about it. Your brain just goes there as far as what you need to do. The only time I have to really stop and think about a thread, threading my machine, is if I'm doing a wave stitch or something like that. But here is where you can kind of see that with the thread, as I'm going to thread this and I'm putting it through the loopers, if you don't cut off the thread or make sure that you have a really nice tip of the thread, it can sometimes not go through the machine. So here I'm trying to, like I said, I kind of took a lazy way out to, I could have just easily snipped it off and then it would have gone through seamlessly. But then typically what I'll do is, if I can't get that to go through, I'll just use my tool and just pull out the thread. But hopefully you find this video helpful. It is something that there are a lot of questions. A lot of people ask that question when it comes to these combo machines. Some people hate using them because they feel that it takes them a lot more time to toggle back and forth. In my case, I find that threading 2 separate machines and moving from one machine over to the other machine and then back again, I'm moving my chair, I'm moving whatever the item is that I'm working on, the whether it's clothing or, what have you, that also takes time. So for me, this works. Hopefully that you find this helpful. And if you have any questions, please post below.